evening and welcome to the August 17, 2023 meeting of the Town of Southampton Zoning Board of Appeals. This meeting is being held live and also via video conferencing in accordance with the town's enactment of Local Law 14 of 2022, adopted May 24, 2022. Our next meeting and those following will be held in person here at Town Hall and will also continue to allow for remote participation, so that we ask you to keep checking the town's website for updates and any new information. If you wish to view tonight's meeting, live meeting only, and not participate, please do not join the Zoom meeting and instead go to the town's website. With that, I'd like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will begin this meeting with public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public here with us live and also standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. CTV will mute the speakers on Zoom until it is their time to give testimony before the board, so please be patient. If you find that you're having difficulties accessing the hearings, visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Also, please silence your cell phones and refrain from speaking to one another in the boardroom, as it interferes with the recording of our proceedings. Tonight, board member Helen Burgess is participating via Zoom and Chairman Adam Grossman is absent. I will be chairing the meeting in his absence. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking other than attorneys will be sworn in, will state their address for the record, and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. Before handing in any submissions to the board tonight, please make sure that the documents identify the ZBA application name and tax map number. The application name should also be written on your certified receipts. Unless otherwise stated at the end of each hearing, all applications will remain open for written comments for all purposes until a date to be announced after the individual application hearing. Those comments can be addressed to members of the board and sent via email, mail, and/or dropped off at Town Hall to the board secretary, Candace Howell. At this time, I would like to take a motion to approve the minutes of our August 3rd meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Tuttle.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Miss Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Minutes are approved. Okay. Keith, I think you're up next to go through the agenda for today.
Okay, obviously we have some changes to the agenda. Item 3 on the agenda, William Santos has been withdrawn. Item 7 on the agenda, Michael Gluckman and Lila Budar Gluckman, 38 Cliff Drive in Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-9-1-45. It's going to be, I move to adjourn to 10:19.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Mr. Tuthill?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Wondered what if I
Aye.
did not.
Chair votes aye. Okay.
All right,
Adjourn.
on the decision calendar, the following decisions are gonna be put off for a determination to our 9/7 meeting, that's September 7th. It's Aaron Appel, Jinlin Realty Inc., Daniel Gutierrez, Dilip Patel, and, that's enough. And Cecilia Hamlin, Richard Flood, Alex Vyman, Max New York Management, Matthew Frank, Production Holdings LLC, and Lee Skolnick.
Second.
Yeah, that's good.
This is a motion, correct, Candace?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Tuthill?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Okay, so still on the decision calendar. I'm gonna make a motion to reopen Jennifer and Lee McCabe.
Second.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
All right, the reason I made that motion was to accept written submissions. With that being done, now I'll move to close with a determination later this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, I'll move to reopen Thomas Carroll for the purpose of accepting written submissions.
Second.
Mr. Tuthill.
All right,
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
all right, with that being done, then I'll move to close with a determination later this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, now we go back to the beginning of the agenda. Item 1 on the agenda is Miguel Vaccaro, 55 June Avenue in Flanders, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-148-3-29. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for proposed attached sunroom to an existing dwelling on a non-conforming lot, 330-11. Residence District's Table of Dimensional Regulations, a rear yard setback of 27.4 feet where 30 feet is required, and any other relief necessary.
What is jurisdiction, Madam Chair?
Are either of you attorneys?
No.
Okay, so then let me swear you in. Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, can you please state your name and your address?
Kathleen McHenry, Long Island Permits, P.O. Box 5, Center Merchants, New York, 11924.
Tracy Shaleski, P.O. Box, Long Island Permits, P.O. Box 5, Santa Maria, New York, 11934.
Okay, tell us about the application.
Good evening, Chairwoman. We're here before you seeking permission to construct a 20 by 12 rear sunroom addition, proposing a rear yard setback of 27.3 where 30 feet is required in R10 zoning.
Did you say 27.3 or 27.4?
27.3 is what I have. I pulled the denial.
It
The
was
denial
noticed
says 27.3.
It was noticed for 27.4, and 27.4 is on your survey. Do you have an updated survey?
No, not showing, I'm just going by off the denial from the building department. The survey does show,
It says 27.4.
The survey does say 27.4.
okay.
Do you want to look at the denial?
All right, so you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to give us a survey that shows the proper.
Okay.
Why don't you go on with the description?
Okay, sounds good. The Vaccaros are located only a few houses from the wetlands and marsh, and several months of the year they find their backyard unusable. The purpose of the sunroom is to expand the family's common area and give them a place to utilize their backyard without getting eaten alive by bugs. If granted, the sunroom will not be heated or habitable. I viewed aerials in the area, and it appears that several homes are encroaching further into the rear yard than we are proposing. 49 June Avenue has a rear bump out that extends further than our proposal. Lot 30, the house is positioned diagonally, and so it holds a closer rear yard on the east side of the property. Lot 12, across the street from us, has almost no rear yard, as well as Lot 36 on Indian Avenue. And also 64 Indian Avenue has a huge home with a little rear yard, and the pool is also extremely close to the property line. There is currently a side entrance and gazebo in place of the location proposed, which we intend to remove. We believe the relief we are seeking has no feasible alternative. If granted, would have no negative impact on the neighborhood, and in fact, would be keeping with the nature and characteristics of the surrounding properties. I welcome any questions the board may have.
What about the shed?
The shed is gonna be moved. I actually believe they're gonna just take it down completely.
So you got
Yep, they're taking it down completely.
outdoor
Yeah.
conforming location.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Robert, you have the lead on this. Do you have any
I
questions?
don't have any, I mean, we just have to correct,
Get an updated survey.
Right.
Yep.
one says 27.4,
Yeah, we definitely wanna get that straight.
27.3 in the survey, so we need
For
to.
the record, this is 8% relief, so it should qualify as a minor
It's a
variance.
minor
Yeah.
violation, yes. Right, right. Didn't seem like it was.
I have no question, I have no problem with it.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I can just get it, I mean, it
Oh,
may take
wait,
us.
don't go yet.
No,
We
no.
still have to
I
ask
only
the
have
next
some-
I only
questions.
have no questions.
Michael, John, any
Fine. I have
questions?
nothing, I'm fine with it.
Keith, Helen, any questions? Okay. Okay, so, we need an updated survey, which I think could be done through written submissions.
Yes.
So, Robert, you take the lead on this, so
Yes,
will
I
you?
move to close the meeting, hold it open for written submissions until September 8th with a decision on 9/21.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess, Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Okay.
That was easy.
Thank you so much.
We're actually up for the next.
Oh,
okay.
You get to keep looking at us.
Okay.
Do I have to separately swear them in on this, Kathleen?
I guess I would for the record, Madam Chair.
Okay. So if you could raise your right hand. Do you
We gotta
solemnly
call it.
swear?
Let's call it first.
Oh, so sorry. Had my,
Okay, item 2 on the agenda is John Timothy Otero, 19 The Trail in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-187-2-21. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code for a proposed one-story addition to the existing dwelling on a non-conforming lot. 330-115C continuance for a principal total side yard setback from 42.6 feet to 30 feet. And 2, for an existing shed, 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and 330-83C yards, for an existing shed that will now be located in the required side yard of the principal building as a, excuse me, result of the proposed addition and any other relief necessary.
Board is jurisdiction, Madam Chair.
okay, thank you. So if you could raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Okay. Please state your name and addresses.
Tracy Shaleski, LI Permits, PO Box 5, Center Riches, New York, 11934.
Kathleen McHenry, P.O. Box 5, Center Riches, New York, 11934.
Okay. So tell us about the application.
So we're here seeking rear yard setback relief for a proposed 14 by 21 story addition with a proposed 12 by 20 deck. The unique shape of our lot is what brings us here before you, as there is no zoning compliant alternative to the relief we seek. There is currently a larger deck with a smaller setback CO'd in the location of our proposed addition. This existing deck has a 15.1 setback at the southwest corner. Our proposed addition will occupy the same space as the deck and will hold a setback of 18 feet. The proposed deck will be on grade, lower than the existing CO deck at around 2 feet at the rear. The southeast corner of the proposed deck will have a 14-foot setback. So while on paper this appears to be a greater intrusion, we're actually pulling back the recreation area. I do have some aerials.
What do you want to submit first?
Oh, okay. It's from Google Maps. I have 12 copies.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I'll give it to you at the
Just
end.
the-
So, as you can see on the aerials, right now they have the deck that comes out, and then there's like a sort of, they have like a cinder block kind of wall that extends out with, like a small pebble patio that's happening. It's all on grade. But it does extend past the fence line of 29. And our addition is gonna pull back. It'll be smaller coming off the back of the house, and then this proposed deck will kind of come out to the side, 12 feet, and then up towards the road. So we'll be behind the fence line of 29, and as you can see, that's also a more open yard, whereas number 31, Washington Ave, has, more trees. We have more screen planting along that area as well. The purpose of the addition is to expand the family's common area. The existing living room is 12 by 12 with 2 double-hung windows on the west-facing wall and a large bay window on the south-facing wall. The proposed addition will add a double door opening onto the east side of that wall of the living room and will add 286 square feet of common area for the family to enjoy. Right now at 12 by 12, you can't like comfortably sit in an easy chair without somebody trying to step around you. Number 31, Washington Heights Avenue, lies directly behind our proposed additions from the aerials. It is apparent that they use their rear yard as a driveway turnaround. You can also see that there's a large shed, a storage building, garage. I really wasn't sure. And you can't see from the street, obviously. I drove by. It's definitely larger than our proposed addition, and it's along the shared property line of where our addition will be. So if it's not completely blocked by this structure, it'll at least be partially blocked, and along with the screen planting there, which is a significant evergreen tree, so it will be year-round. We won't be creating like a bedroom to bedroom or window to window type of situation. As stated, there are no compliant alternatives due to the lot shape and the placement of the house on the lot. Any expansion to this modest two-bedroom home will bring the owner before the board today. R20 zoning requires a 60-foot rear yard setback, which we don't meet as it is, and a 40-foot front yard setback. So even if the addition was added to the side of the house, due to the angle of the home in relation to the lot, it would still require a rear yard variance, while making the structure feel more like a railroad flat than a home in the Hamptons. A garage conversion was not within the realm of possibility because they need the storage space. And the home sits on a crawl space, not a full basement, so doing some sort of a basement conversion wasn't an option as either. We are also here seeking to relief to maintain the existing CO'd shed. It's a kind of a quirk in zoning. The way Art Gearhauser and Building explained it to me is because we're extending the rear line of the house, that's putting this existing shed into the side yard. But if you look at the survey, you can see that the shed was already kind of forward of the rear line of the house anyhow, and it was CO'd there. The fact that we're extending the back of the house isn't going to make that shed any more viewable from the street, or change the fact that it is directly behind the garage. So, that's all I have to say, if there's any questions.
And that frame shed is pre-existing?
Yes, and it's
When
on.
was it, is it there from,
Let me check the CO. It was original from 1979. Certificate C5862, one-story family dwelling with attached one-car garage, metal storage shed, cement patio.
oh, that's the metal storage shed, okay.
Yes.
Don't we typically request a condition report on a shed if we're going to give relief on such shed, condition
Yeah,
report that it?
we usually ask, is it, can it withstand storms, we usually ask.
Well, it's-
Not in this situation, I don't believe.
Because it's a
Because it wasn't-
pre-existing?
They're not asking for relief because it was as-built, they're just asking for relief for it because the addition is going to create a non-conformity.
Yes.
If they were legalizing an as-built shed, then I would say yes.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay, all right, thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you don't need to
So
do
the
that.
extension of the house is gonna make that into a side yard?
Theoretically,
Yeah.
yeah, but
The property's
yeah,
constrained.
I mean, there are other towns that would not interpret it that way. They would take the two sides of the house and extend it towards the back property line, and that's your rear yard. Southampton has chosen to take the rear line of the house and decide that that's, yeah. So, I mean, but nonetheless, it's been there since 1979, and it's still not visible, even though we're extending the rear line of our house. It doesn't make that any more visible or remove it from the fact that it's directly behind the garage.
Looks like it's a foot or two off anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was saying when I was looking at it. I was like, well, that's how you everybody has their own interpretation of zoning code.
I'm having trouble reading the survey. Can you point out where it said, where you?
How you calculate the total
Yeah, how
side
do you-
yard?
Yeah,
Because, I had the same issue.
Yes.
I don't see,
there's
The
no line
calculations.
between the building, the proposed one-story addition and the property line that shows what the footage is.
what the proposed side yard setback is gonna be.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is, what would that be?
you didn't get a copy of this one?
No.
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 Oh,
you
I'm
did
sorry.
not.
That's 17.3, right?
No, it doesn't say that. It says 18.
Right, but who would make these notations on the
Yeah,
survey?
this is like
I-
not,
I
it's
see.
not
Yeah, no,
official.
we couldn't
Oh,
accept. It
I
needs to
was-
be from the surveyor.
Okay, so do you want to revise survey
Yeah.
from
Yes,
the
we do.
surveyor?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
that's
'Cause
not a
right now-
problem.
So what do you have as the total?
We have 18 feet from the southeast corner of, the southeast corner of the addition to
Mhm.
the side, to the easterly property line.
Mm-hmm.
And then below that, we are at 14 feet for the proposed deck.
Okay.
And that deck is going to be, I believe, under 8 inches, if not exactly on grade.
Okay, because numbers here are 17.3 and 13.6. But they don't
But they
indicate
don't.
that that's what they
That's,
are.
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
say what it is, so.
Yeah.
So,
No, what survey is that?
so if the board members, if you look at the 17.3 noted, slightly above the notation proposed one-story
Mhm.
addition, that's one side, and then over to your left, you're gonna see a 12.7, next to the frame shed. Those are your two numbers that are going to bring it to 30.
Okay.
You see those?
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not easy to, but she's now talking about 18.
Oh,
not
I
7.
was confused about what part of the survey you were referring to. I thought we were referring to
That-
right there.
We were.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
she was talking about
She
that
did both.
setback.
She
Okay.
said it, on the survey that we have, it's 17.5 instead of 18. And,
17.3.
oh, sorry.
17.3
my
and
glasses.
12.7.
And
That's the
12.7.
total
I
side
circled
yard.
the,
Yeah,
if that's right, I don't know if that's.
so,
So the rear
Oh.
yard is considered
Yeah,
the
that's
side
right.
yard
No.
in this situation.
Is that right?
Yeah, because
This
we
is
did-
correct. Yeah, no,
The side yard.
Because of the addition of this.
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I had old paper copies that and because of electronics and everything like that, I didn't keep this copy in our file. But yes, 17.3 is correct. I was speaking incorrectly. 17.3.
so 18 is not correct.
It's 17.3 and 13.6. I'm sorry, I was working off of an
No,
old survey.
12.7.
Oh, percent, yes.
13.6, right there.
As for the deck.
17.3, and then over here is 12.7. That's the existing setback from the attached garage. So I'm so sorry for the confusion.
So the total side yard setback is the 12.7 and the 17.3?
Correct.
So that is
30.
30.
That's your 42,
That's your 30 from
42.6
40.
existing down to 30.
Okay. So do we need a revised survey now or not?
No, that's the correct survey. I have a digital file and I have a paper
Okay.
file, and I've forgotten that I had saved and not printed.
And what about for the wood deck?
Maybe.
13.6 for the wood deck, that's correct.
And that's considered accessory? Is
Yes.
that- Okay, so that
The deck is accessory, and it'll be under 10 inches.
And under 10 feet?
And 10 feet.
Okay, okay.
Anybody here to speak?
You know, I never asked them the last one, there wasn't any. Any other questions?
No other question.
Helen, this is yours, is there any questions?
You're muted, Helen.
Muted. Helen, we can't hear you. All right. Helen, we can't hear you. All right.
How about anybody out there?
Is there anybody in the audience who cares to be heard on the application of Otero 19 The Trail?
Anybody on Zoom?
Is there anybody else on Zoom who cares to be heard?
No one
Okay.
on Zoom.
Helen, we didn't hear you. Could you try again?
You're on mute.
Somebody call her.
Okay, I think you can hear me now.
Now we can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
I was saying we can close the public hearing. We can leave it open for written submissions till September 8th, with a decision on September 21.
Second?
Miss Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay.
At this time, we wanted to ask the board, if it's possible, we have case number 6. Is there a way that we'd be able to hear that one out of order? If not,
Mr. Gilmartin, you don't oppose, right?
Well, it's not just him.
I know, I'm kidding.
it is for, it's for a simple.
What, case 6?
Yeah, it's my application.
Are you opposed? No. Okay, all right. So now, Mr. Tuthill, do you want to read number 6?
Folks want me to do. Item 6 on the agenda is Annette Zacco and Daisy Neves, 12 Daniels Road in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-226-1-31. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code to legalize a 22.5 by 14.4 accessory building, frame shed, constructed without the benefit of a building permit on a non-conforming lot. 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and 330-83C yards to allow the existing accessory building, frame shed, to remain within the total required side yard for the principal dwelling and any other relief necessary.
I believe this is an adjourned application.
It
Yes,
is.
it
It
is.
is, right.
It is. I didn't have to read that.
I'm so sorry, Chair doesn't
Chair,
understand some of the
Chair told me
rules
to do
yet.
that. I just do what the chair tells me.
It was a good read summary.
Yeah.
It was a
Thank
good
you.
read.
We like
It was a
hearing
good read, okay. Would you please, do I say state your names first, or do I say,
We're getting good at this.
yeah,
Were you sworn in previously?
previously,
Okay,
but
so
on
then-
different
Not in
applications?
this case, they
Not in
were.
this
Oh, yeah,
case.
no, not on this
Okay.
case.
Okay.
Then you can go ahead and admit the
Okay.
oath again.
No, she's
Okay.
asking, does she have to say state their name first,
John.
or, does it matter which way she says it?
Okay, well then, let's do it the way we were doing it before. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please state your name and address.
Kathleen McHenry, Liberty, LI Permits, P.O. Box 5, Center Riches, New York, 11934.
Tracy Shaleski, LI Permits, P.O. Box 5, Center Ridges, New York, 11934. I don't know why this one's so tongue-tied.
I know, because we're saying it
These were
3
the
times
big-
now. We're not getting good at it.
Pass them down.
We're here,
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
John is telling me we had something to pass out, did you?
Yeah, I got it. It all came to me.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
we're here before you tonight requesting relief for an existing 22 by 14 shed in the required side yard. Our property is on R20. My clients purchased the property in 2018. At that time, the structure existed, had a garage door, and was being used as an apartment. When my clients purchased the property, they went about removing the apartment and utilizing it as somewhat of a pool house. They removed the garage doors as well, which we were told by the building department now makes it considered a shed. Also in 2018, my clients installed solar panels on the accessory structure and obtained permits through the town for these solar panels. At the time, the town never brought up the fact that the structure itself had no permits. One would reason to believe that the accessory structure was legal, and so they proceeded in good faith. It was not until 2021, when we proposed to install a sunroom addition, that we learned of this discrepancy. I've submitted for the board's consideration pictures of the subject structure, house, and rear yard. In addition, I've submitted a letter from Carol Wibzar, the neighbor directly to the north and the one most affected by the encroachment. She states that the structure was there prior to her moving in, she has no objections to it, and the property has only improved since my client's purchase. The Zacco Neves family are really just trying to rectify a mistake made prior to their ownership. We believe the relief we are seeking, if granted, would have no negative impact on the neighborhood and would in fact be keeping with the nature and characteristics of the surrounding properties. I welcome any questions the board may have.
John, this is yours. I
This
know
is
you've
mine.
got some questions, so.
Is this a case where application where we're gonna need that report about the shed? Because we are legalizing something that was as built.
I believe somebody was out there.
Yes, it's an absolute.
So,
Okay.
if I
This
may.
is,
What's
this is also, go
Yes.
ahead, Kathleen, why don't you
Okay.
clarify what we actually have to discuss?
So based on a recent determination of the building inspector, which was touched on a little bit in the last application as it relates to rear yards and side yards, relief is no longer needed as advertised for this structure. However, you do have a submission from Marjorie Riley of the building department indicating that, as it relates to any and all other relief necessary, they would like a discussion and a determination from this board that the shed is customary and accessory given its size.
The
Where was
size
that?
relative to the principal dwelling.
So
So
there's a-
Oh, it's
generally,
larger.
when it comes to accessory
Yeah.
buildings, we look at about 25%.
So that's what they want, so the board she no longer wants us to discuss.
The side
The side
yards.
yard, oh, you guys
Right.
are throwing a wrench in here, all right,
Well,
keep me on my
this is,
toes.
yeah, keeping you on your toes, this is our job. So anyhow, the problem now is that we have to look at the size of the accessory structure versus the principal structure, and we have to make a determination as to
Okay,
how it
understood.
compares. I did a rough calculation, it looked like about 41% to me, I don't know. It was kind of like a very amateurish
That's a lot of
kind of
math.
calculation, but
Looking at the-
So do you have the square footage of the primary structure and the square footage of the
yeah,
accessory
this-
structure?
I just need my calculator.
With you, just to confirm that.
Did you want a copy of the building?
Oh, yes.
The shed is easy, that's like 22.5 by 14.4, which is about 324 square feet. It's the frame, it's the
Like I
one
said, we don't
story.
even have all the plans if you want.
It may be
Yeah.
on the plans, I'm not sure that we saw the plans.
It usually breaks it down somewhere.
I'm not sure.
Square footage of the, existing square footage of the house. Yeah, no, see, he's got them all broken down. So the house is,
He's got the total lot coverage on there.
the total lot coverage is
Less than
15.8.
20%.
Yeah, that's all the deck, all of that, 636. We counting decks or no?
Not the deck.
No, just the structures.
The way I calculated, I did 22.4 by 28.4
Correct.
as one part, and then I did 11.9 by 12.4 as the second part.
Correct,
Added them together, and I came up with 780.
okay.
Don't know if that's correct.
Well, yeah, if you're adding the both of those, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, all right,
And
but
then
I
the
mean,
shed
if
is
somebody
20
could, you know, check my calculation.
And then 324 is the shed.
324 is the shed. So I came up with 41.5%.
For both.
The accessory is
Yeah.
41.5% of the principal structure.
Okay, so what do we have to do here?
Get it to around 25%.
Well, we generally don't approve anything, you know, this is pre-existing, so that's a consideration.
It's pre-existing, a few things, it's pre-existing, one. Two, we have solar panels that are legal on this. I mean, I still am not sure how that got past the building department. The other thing is, it was being utilized as an apartment when she bought it. Obviously, she knew that wasn't, so she ended up converting it to more of a use that is acceptable and what it's supposed to be. And then I also think this letter from the neighbor goes a long way, you know, that states it was there before her, and that she has no objection to it staying.
What is the use of it now?
It's just a shed right now, and I believe Art Gerhauser was the one that inspected it last week. I don't have that report
I
though.
mean,
I
but-
went and looked at it a few weeks ago.
Did you?
Yes, I met with the homeowner, and it was just a single room with an air conditioning unit in it and like a game table for, I think, a nephew.
Yeah,
Um,
I know she also says that she don't, because of the pool in the backyard, she doesn't like the kids in the summer coming into the house to like change the bathing suits, so a lot of times she said even though that's, you know, she'll just have them change or whatever, or dry off in there too, which is helpful.
Is there a bathroom facility? in
No,
there?
No,
Is
There's
is
no
there,
bathroom in it.
no bathroom.
so there's
in
no
it.
intent for it to become an accessory apartment?
no, as a matter of fact, like I said, she never knew that this was gonna be under the gaze of the building department or the town in general. She thought it was legal, but when they bought it, it was being utilized as an apartment, and she removed that because that was not something that she needed. And again, the neighbor, I think, speaks for us. The yard is beautiful if you look at the backyard. She really has done nice improvements.
Would the board feel better if the garage doors were put back on?
Nah, it doesn't
No.
matter.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem.
But
with
putting the
it.
garage doors on isn't gonna change anything because there's a gate. There's no way to access
Yeah.
it as a garage
As a
from
garage.
the driveway.
Just condition it, no
No,
living
no-
facility.
no living facilities.
Which I think we're completely fine with. It's just
Yeah.
the cost to have to demolish a portion of it when it's not, it's kind of something that she incurred, you know. She doesn't have to do that. That would be very
She
helpful.
has lousy representation.
And that's what I've
Yeah.
said, that's what I've said.
You know?
A lot of times they
Gotta
walk
watch
into
their
these
lawyers.
things and they don't, you know. There should be a whole report on exactly what's legal and
They
what's
should
not.
get
and-
expediters.
They should-
Well, I would like to suggest that we do have to get a couple of pieces of information. One is what Mike raised before, which is the.
The actual square footage.
Actual square
Well, we need to get the
Percentage.
square footage, and we need to do a calculation of.
Well, we have that, the plans are all right here.
I know,
He
but
just
you
has a-
need to submit to us what the square footage of the shed is versus the principal building, and you have to write it onto the
want it on the
survey,
survey.
yes.
Okay.
So it's legal. And the second thing is because this isn't been, this is not been approved pre-existing, so we need to get the fact that the shed's not gonna blow down, right? I mean, we've gotta get the, what do we call
Condition
it?
report.
Yeah, the
His letter from a licensed professional as to the structural,
Soundness,
Integrity.
yeah.
Now, the survey that we have is from 2021,
Mm.
which
Well, it has to
also
be updated.
which also includes diagrams for a proposed sunroom, so I
Well,
would
that's
like
the-
to see an
That's how this came
updated.
up. I think the proposed sunroom was the reason that this came up, because
Yes,
they went to the
correct.
building department and then it was identified as
Yes.
a problem.
So
I think we need an updated survey.
Okay.
But we're not here on this application for a proposed sunroom.
No,
No.
not on this
So,
application,
exactly.
but that's how this
So we
all
should,
came
we
up.
need a new survey.
Okay.
what is the update survey gonna show, just so I know what I'm looking for?
What the new survey is gonna show, it's gonna show the square footage of the shed and the square footage of the principal dwelling. So that we can do a
Percentage.
comparison as to what, the exact amount, not that we're sitting here calculating on our own.
Okay.
And the condition of the shed.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with this, with it as it exists, but there's an awful lot going on this lot. So, I mean, and it could be used for living space if she went through a proper application in the future. But,
Yeah, that's not our intent. And I know it does look busy, but a
It
lot
is-
of, like,
it
the
is
decks,
busy.
the things that are called decks are really just pallets that she uses so that, the kids aren't stepping on the grass and stuff. They're to grade. So we did have to call them decks, but they're not like, decks where you're going up and down. They're just,
Gotcha.
you should be able to see it in the
Platforms.
pictures. Yeah, but, it's a little bit, misleading, I think, in my opinion.
How
with the-
busy it actually
Okay.
is.
with the references to the decks and stuff like that.
Yeah, you
But-
can
Get
see
us
in
the
the
info
photos.
that we need.
Yes.
Candace, you have a concern about the
Yeah, I'm
survey?
just wondering, instead of having this entire survey redone, the surveyor could write a letter telling you the square footage of the
That's
shed,
fine.
the square footage of the house,
Could
and the
we-
percentage.
Could we have the architect do that, since the architect's the one that's gonna give us a condition
I think
report?
so,
And
yes.
I would say have the architect.
And he's the one that
reference-
also did, so could he give us the square footage and then break it down in percentage?
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be helpful.
And
Yeah,
have
we
him-
could do
have
it
him
that way.
reference that survey that he's getting
Okay.
his information from,
Yeah,
instead of having him get a whole new survey.
okay,
done.
no, that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, that's something we
Want
could
the
definitely
survey
do.
with the proposed sunroom?
But they're
But it's on here.
they're not seeking.
They're not
It's-
seeking anything from
for the
us.
sunroom.
I mean, that's something that obviously has to get updated before we can close to CO, showing that
Got it.
Yeah.
it's,
Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay, perfect, so I could do
Okay,
those two
and
things.
then
no
what was the
problem.
conditions that you wanted to stipulate on the,
No sleeping quarters.
no sleeping quarters, okay.
Without proper,
Well, no sleeping quarters, period. And then if they come back, we can
you have
let
to
them.
stay awake 24 hours a day.
Standing up.
We'll pinch you, we'll stand there and pinch you if you.
You'd
if you
sleep
get
like the
full set.
cone heads.
Okay, how much, all right, John, this is yours. You wanna see how much time you're gonna need to?
Anybody out there in the
Oh,
audience?
I'm so sorry. Thank you, Keith. Does anybody in the audience have anything to comment on the application of Zacco and Neves for 12 Daniels Road, Hampton Bays? Anybody on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Okay, John?
Okay, how much time do you think you're going to need?
It's Grotzer. I know it's Grotzer. Give me a month.
A month.
That's what I'm-
Okay.
So should I hold it open?
Do you wanna hold it open, or you wanna do it by written
Hold
submissions?
on for written submissions until.
So,
Written submission.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
do it
do
by
written
written
submissions.
submissions.
So that's not something that I need to come back.
So,
So
what are the
let's
dates
see.
that we have?
Okay, so,
9/21, 10/5.
9/8, 9/21.
so it'd be 9/22, can you do it by
Yep.
9/22? Okay.
Written sub,
Okay.
9/22.
So written subs, 9/22, with a decision,
10/5.
10/5.
That's yours. That's for this file, Zacco.
Get everything in place by 9/22.
Perfect.
Second.
And then,
Yes, what?
No.
Did you have any other questions?
I don't wanna convolute things. I found the corrected survey for the other one, for Carol.
Yeah, we did.
I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
I really don't want to
So
All
I
right,
need a
fine.
motion, we need a
Good idea.
second, we need to vote
Is there
on
a
it.
second?
Second. Second.
Okay,
We
Mr.
have
Leonard.
3 seconds?
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair
Thank
votes
you.
aye.
Thank you
Okay.
very
Have a
much.
good evening.
Good day.
Okay, now we're back to number 4.
All right, Dreamview LLC, 282 Roses Grove Road, Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-46-2-45.7. Applicant requests relief from Town Code 1 for a 3-story dwelling, 330-11 Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a 3-story dwelling where a maximum of 2 stories is permitted. 2, a total building height of 38.1 feet, where a maximum of 32 feet is allowed. A required minimum side yard setback of 32 feet on the east side of the property where a minimum of 50 feet is required. 4, a total required side yard setback of 87.2 feet, where 125 feet is required. And 5, required rear yard setback of 98.5 feet where 100 feet is required. 2, to legalize a tennis court constructed without the benefit of a building permit, 330-76D, placement of accessory buildings, structures and uses in all districts, and 330-83C yards to allow the tennis court to remain within the total required side yard for the principal building. 3, to legalize an in-ground swimming pool with spa constructed without the benefit of a building permit. 330-11 for a side yard setback of 48.5 feet where a minimum of 50 feet is required. And 2, 330-76D and 330-83C to allow the swimming pool to remain within the minimum required side yard and total side yards for the principal building. And 4, to legalize a patio constructed without the benefit of a building permit. 330-76D and 330-83C to allow the patio located on the west side of the property to remain within the required minimum and total side yard for the principal building and any other relief necessary. Did they do anything with a building permit or what?
What is jurisdiction, Madam Chair?
Okay, before you say anything.
Hi, I'm Karen Pate Murphy. I'm of Council Bergen Sullivan. I'm representing the current owner of Dreamview LLC, and I'm here today with Robert C. Miller, who's an architect, so I guess you'll have to swear him in.
Could you please, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And can you please state your name and address?
Sure. Rob Miller at 7 Norton Drive in Smithtown, New York, 11787.
Okay.
Okay, well, this has been had a lot of review, and sometimes you get a ZBA application that, when you see the notice of hearing, it's a lot different than what you, I guess, give this to everybody, what's expected. So I like to go through what was in the public notice, because, first of all, I'd like to say that we're not asking for a 3-story dwelling. That has to do with the basement being exposed.
Before you even start.
Yes.
I have no plans and no survey on this application.
How can you know?
Does Michael have them?
Did anybody get them?
Yeah.
I had a survey.
I have survey.
Okay, sorry,
I have a survey, but no plans.
but no plans.
Right.
I have a set of plans, but everybody need a microscope to read it.
Is this the,
Yeah, that's it.
that just came with our submittals for tonight, so, we haven't had a chance to review them, obviously. So I just wanted to set that as, I'm glad somebody has a survey, because I don't, so.
Okay, 'cause I
Okay.
did submit.
Wait, so we have, hold on, don't anybody start.
You know, if these things are submitted just a few days before the hearing, very often, you know, they can't get to us. But I'm lead on this, and all I had was, the survey. So, and I was at the property today, but I don't have plans, haven't seen a plan.
They're in here.
Do they?
No, they came with submittals that we got tonight, so.
Okay, and I think they're in the original package.
Can I accept them?
Yeah, it's in the
Okay,
package.
so I just wanted to preface everything with that because I'm at a disadvantage in terms of reviewing this application, but go ahead and
Okay.
you can tell us what you want to tell us.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, number one, I have the question 14, which is different from what I originally wrote, but, I mean, nothing's changed. What we're dealing with is still there, what we're asking for, which is an addition. But for number one, for having a 3-story dwelling, that has to do with the owner wanted to have the basement more exposed. So I'll ask Rick to just explain that we're gonna, Rob, sorry, Rob,
That's okay.
Rob.
Yeah, a building permit was issued for the construction that exists there now. Okay, and during that, they had sort of had like a little bit of mission creep, where they wanted to do more and more to the house as they were working on it, and they exposed more of the foundation in the basement, which then brought it into a 3rd story. The basement would have been considered a 3rd story
To
because,
be considered a 3rd story.
correct.
Except for the height is 38 feet.
We're getting to that.
Oh.
Yeah, that has,
Well, they're
So-
not mutually exclusive, a 38-foot height.
well, it's underneath the basement, so, under the ground, so.
No, it's not, it's exposed.
The back looks like it's supposed to be, the front's on the.
That's been like that?
All right, well, okay, but we're just explaining.
Yeah. I understand.
And what's in that basement?
There's going to be a bowling alley, a movie theater, playroom, bedrooms, laundry. It's a 20,000 square foot house. So that's why you're gonna have, it's not gonna be filled up with 20,000 square feet of bedrooms and dining rooms. So,
Recreational area.
right, we are raising the grade. The house will comply as a 2-story. So, if we want to discuss that in depth now, I'm prepared to. If not, I can leave it as an objection for the building department, for the plans examiner, and we can deal with them
You're
on
saying
it.
you're gonna raise the grade.
We're gonna make it so that the grade
It's
is
a
raised
basement.
and the basement will no longer be a story.
All right, so what do you do with the windows? You do window wells?
Do window wells. We're not raising all of the grade. We'd be raising the grade around like 3/4 of the house and leaving the back exposed like it was.
Okay, so I'd like to discuss this in 2 phases. First, we have the existing house, and that's where the 38 and 1 inch comes up. And what happened, and this is on a hill in the area, I'm sure you've been there, it's rolling hills, and everybody is, so that in calculating height, they have to go with grade. Now, in this situation, there was a previous house, which I'd like to submit an aerial photograph from
That's from 2000.
2001 map that shows there was a previous house there that met the requirements. And so that house, it had a pool and a tennis court. We'll get to the pool and tennis court later. So anyhow, there was I'm gonna give a list of, these are building, so what happened is, and Rob can correct me, is that they decided, the new owner decided that they were going to renovate the house, and then it turned out that they were gonna demolish the house, but
They
keep-
ended up
keep the-
demolishing everything and leaving the existing foundation. That's what they did.
Foundation.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, They proceeded, and I have the building permits here. So the foundation is what was there from the original house. And so then the house went through approvals. I actually have, what you have to keep on site, the building
Approved
department
plans.
approved plans, which approved, and I'll submit the series of
Who is the builder?
inspection. The builder, right now is
PMD?
PMD Builders.
PMD?
Yes, Builders.
We're gonna probably need to speak with him.
Okay, so.
Was he the
there's-
builder when they built all this stuff without?
Originally, yes. He worked for Farrell. Farrell was the original.
All right, they're gonna have to.
Okay,
they're
so-
gonna ask-
so
we're gonna-
anyhow-
We're not gonna close this today anyhow, so we're gonna have to.
Yeah, well, yeah,
have- And
I'm
bring
just-
and bring him in.
this has been going on for
Way too
lots
long.
of review. So anyhow, I'm glad that I'm here tonight to start this. So anyhow, this went through, where's that other picture? To what the, yeah, so this is what,
This is what we were permitted for.
what is what they're permitted for, sorry, which one? And the height has to do with the peaks.
On that.
On the house, that gets up to the 38 feet.
That's
And-
always nice.
So the plans were
I know,
approved,
okay,
we
but
started
that's-
construction,
that's
and now we filed for an enlargement amendment, right? And she cited the peaks over the
Yeah,
already
Inspector
approved
Riley.
portion, but we already
Yeah,
constructed
she,
it.
she did that. Is this the latest? Do you have the
That's,
other one?
yeah.
Oh,
How
okay.
tall are the ceilings?
The ceiling?
It's basically 10 feet each floor.
Okay.
Really?
So anyhow, so that's where
We have to loan.
we're getting that. So anyhow,
We don't know if we don't have the plans, so it's
Right.
hard to. Here, Michael.
This
Any
ain't
more
going
pictures
nowhere.
of the, can you, are there more pictures of the peaks?
no, that's just,
All right, okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
okay, so anyhow, we have to go down to 32 feet, and we've gotten building permits, and it's gone through approvals. And when they did the framing, the two-story that created these peaks, it was approved. You know, so this is the plans.
Right, the plans were submitted, they were reviewed, they were approved, and we constructed it.
And so we have a vested right in that 38 feet for the house that was rebuilt. This is a cost from the builder, which says to remove the peaks and make it conform to 32 feet, that it'll cost $589,700. And again, the previous house, he built on the same foundation as the previous house, and it was inspected, we have approved plans, but he wanted to go put an addition, which Rob will talk about, that meets the height requirements, a flat roof addition.
Yeah.
And so that's when it came up, when it was being reviewed for the addition, that the main house was too high. So that is what we're going to do. And then I just want to submit a survey that was written by Mr. Keith Tuthill, where he gave a variance in the area on 1631 Deerfield Road from 32 feet to 40 feet. I'll submit that into the record. And so then, now I'd like to have the architect talk about the
The proposed
addition and the
addition.
side yard request for that.
So the proposed addition in bulk and size is almost equivalent to the bulk and size of what is there now. It will have a flat roof, and the flat roof will comply with the total height and the pyramid. So, again, we're here for the 38-foot-1 height. That's part of what we're here for, but she's citing that from an approved set of plans. So I'm not sure how we go from there. But at any rate, the addition that they propose to put on is, it's gonna have a flat roof. It's going to have a rooftop deck on it. 100% of that will comply with, again, with the height and the pyramid walls. The total height will be about 31 foot 11 inches. That's to the flat roof. The roof deck, as far as I understand, is an allowable encroachment into the height. I have not been able to find anything in the zoning code that clearly excludes it. And I've not been able to get an answer from the building department either. So I'm assuming that it is an allowable encroachment.
Well, it wasn't listed as a variance, because Marge, they had a larger.
Yeah, she did not list it.
A larger stairway structure, and that had to be reduced to the minimum, so I would say it is allowed.
that was
We can
the-
confirm that.
On top of the roof, there was a.
Yeah, and if you go down Dune Road, the Champion, every single house that's flat roof has one. So, there was an interpretation made, I guess, maybe 10 years ago, where they said that you could do that with flat roofs. So now we're being, everything's turning into office buildings. But not this house.
Incidentally, if you look at page A7 of the drawings, you'll see
this is very tasteful.
the rooftop deck and the roof and how it complies with the pyramid and the height. It's on A7, almost the last page.
What are the height of the ceilings for the addition?
10 foot.
And the recreation below, what's the story with that? Is that considered a story, or is that gonna be brought up, doing grade and grade? What are you gonna do with that?
Where are you looking?
For the addition, does that
At the addition?
The basement of the addition? No, it's going to be a basement. Actually, it's going to be a cellar.
Okay.
Which floor is a cellar?
And the last page, the addition, the proposed addition.
Oh, in the addition,
Not in the,
not in the main house.
main house. I'm still not clear on the main house, but.
The main house is, we have a permit and we constructed it.
What
That's
part
it.
of the main house?
So,
You actually had a permit, huh?
we actually had a permit, believe
Oh,
that?
yeah, we've had
It's amazing
inspections.
coming out of this building department.
We've had inspections, and we have stamped plans here that this has to go back to the site, but they have, same set of plans in the building department. And I was able to get it, here tonight, but it shows,
What part of this house is 38.1 feet? Is it
See where the flag is?
Yeah,
Up top? Okay, to the right and to the left, you'll see the two gables?
Yeah.
Those two.
those two are equally over
They're within a couple of
30.
yeah,
inches.
it's the peak. It's the peaks, right? So what
Yes.
is it, this and this?
Yeah.
So it's,
I'm confused. Are you asking us to grant a variance for this height?
Yeah, I'm a little confused
I
on the
don't know what we're-
procedural posture of this, because
I'm
if
not
you
sh-
had a permit for it and built to the permit, why are you now coming to us for a variance at this late date?
Good question.
How did this occur? That's what I wanna know.
well, that's what the building inspector,
Did they say
Marge
you
Riley
did,
said.
that you built this without a permit, is what they're saying?
No,
Or they're saying that you must come,
No, that without a permit is the other structures. We built this with a permit, so she's not saying that.
but what is she asking us to
She's
consider?
asking you to consider the building height. And I'm asserting that we have a vested interest in that because we relied on the town to review the plans and it was an existing house there and they rebuilt it. They put these peak roof.
And you
was
got
in-
permits for the
Yes.
renovated, rebuilt house with
Yes.
the peaks?
Yes.
And you have
That-
evidence of that? We haven't seen that
Yes.
evidence, but, okay,
Yes.
you have evidence. of
And I
that.
have I submitted all the
Actual
approvals
permits.
and building permits.
Okay.
And that the
And-
building inspector was there when they were framing it, when they were putting the wood up, and he
Okay.
approved it.
Okay, well, we're all just looking at this tonight for the first time.
I understand.
And obviously, we need to get,
I mean, all of this should have been provided with an application.
yeah, and I think we need to have our council take a look at this and see, you know, and advise us as to the legitimacy of what they're claiming and these permits. I mean, you know, you just handed us a pile, we haven't gone through it.
Well, you know what, I went to pick this up on on August 3rd, and that was the first time I saw 3 stories, and I have my original application, so I was just as surprised as you are today.
Okay.
And I've been waiting a year to get on the agenda here.
It's not our fault.
It's not your fault,
No,
but there's been a lot of review and a lot of talk, so I'm glad we're here.
Yes,
And
no,
I-
I'm
and
glad
I'm
we're
gonna
here
give
too,
you
because
what
we
you
need to,
need.
we need to resolve this one way or
Yes.
the other.
Yes.
But I'm just talking for me personally, but I'm not prepared to really, you know, comment too extensively on this because we're just being shown these materials.
Yeah, I feel
and-
like I'm being.
I didn't,
And
I,
it's
Is there
like-
any reason why you didn't get this material
well,
with
I
ample
just,
time?
I just got it
You just gave it to them?
on the 3rd. I went to pick it up, and I said we needed.
By the time
more
it's submitted,
Today's
then
the
it doesn't get
17th.
to
It
us.
doesn't get you for.
Yeah, because you have, you have,
Yeah,
it
no, I
was
mean,
August 3rd, and this is the
Copies gotta be
17th, they
made,
only
they're
had
gonna send
15
out.
days. So I didn't expect you to, you know, make a decision, I'm glad that we're here. and we'll-
Okay.
But we need clarification
We need a
from
complete package
council.
of it.
Yes.
And, you know, and the building department we need to hear from, and the builder. I mean, I don't know, we have to find out.
What information do you need from the builder? Because I can answer those questions. I'm intimately
Don't even know.
familiar.
I know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
at this
even
point, yeah, we don't
know.
even know at this
Well,
point.
no,
Yeah,
you're gonna
I
have
mean,
to
let us-
consult with council.
Yeah,
And the boards, it's not atypical for the board to want to speak to a builder when there are structures built without a building permit.
These were built with a building permit.
Right.
There are several accessory structures on here that
have
indicate that they
not
don't.
gotten
have
And we
a
have
permit.
COs that show them on it.
Yeah, I
So they
do.
were sealed with-
The
We have a
tennis
CO
court-
that shows the
Advertised
tennis
that.
court.
Without the building permit. for-
Where is
No, I
that?
think- well, why the smirk?
You have it, right?
For the, yeah, the,
The
I mean,
CO.
the tennis, yeah.
You got
And-
CO
and the-
on
and like
site
I
that didn't
said,
have a
what was
building permit.
advertised-
CO for,
What was advertised is this
patio?
question
There seemed
14.
there seemed to be a little bit of confusion
More than a
when,
little.
during the review.
There's a fair amount of confusion.
Now-
We're going to really need to get this clarified.
You know, she is saying that the tennis court was rebuilt, Inspector
painted.
Riley. And I just gave you a 2001 photograph of the exact same tennis court. It was painted over. That's her interpretation. Now, for the pool, there was a pool, but it's bigger now. And there's a patio.
So the original pool was sealed.
Written, the legal ad is to legalize an in-ground swimming pool constructed without the benefit of a building permit. That's the legal ad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. But the first one doesn't say about the house being 38, doesn't say it didn't have a building permit.
The
Didn't s-
tennis court says to legalize, and the house, you're correct, it doesn't say to legalize.
Right, but the tennis court and the patio and the pool, she's saying that the tennis court, it did have previously a permit, but she said because it was painted, it needs a new permit. So that's what that is. And then the
Obviously, we're
in-ground,
would like more.
the in-ground swimming pool is bigger when you look at old.
Well, that's
things.
new. If it's bigger, it's new.
Right.
It probably
And
made
that
we
sense.
have
was
to
in the original-
legalize- we
and
have
that
to
was it-
legalize
This was
for
in the
sure.
notice, so this has
Okay,
been
okay.
notified.
Okay.
And the patio,
How
I don't
high
know
is-
if it needs a
It's-
permit.
How
It's
high
on
is the-
grade.
It's on grade, and, you know, if that's a problem, maybe it can be removed.
All right,
Pool
bring the
bigger than the tennis court
builder in, see if there's anybody here wants to comment, and let's put
Well,
this
wait,
over
before we
for
do that,
another meeting.
Michael, this is your application. Do you have additional questions or things you want to get clarified?
Not at this time, no.
Okay.
I'd like to see the builder
Yeah.
and speak to council.
All right, Helen, anything?
No.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who cares to be heard? Please come up. You can go there or there. If you want to go there, maybe, or here.
If you want to speak at the podium, you're welcome to do that.
That's great, thank you.
Okay, I have to swear you in unless you're an attorney.
Please swear me.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth?
Not an attorney.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
If you please state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Brad Silver, and I live at 260 Roses Grove Road, Watermill, New York, 11976.
Okay, tell us what you'd like to say.
So having heard that explanation, I also have additional questions and concerns, but we are in receipt of the variance application less than 2 weeks. And in that time, we have reviewed things, and also we have also been living next to this confusing situation and disturbing situation for a couple of years now. I do want to just first off thank the board for this opportunity to express our position and our concerns, and also express that we have no issue whatsoever with the homeowner's right to build and improve upon his or her property, and we have no issue conceptually at this point with the variance being sought. That said, we do have several concerns that we'd like to express tonight. And with that said, above all, we are very interested in resolving any differences here amicably and in the spirit of being good neighbors. By way of background, we purchased our property at 260 Roses Grove in 2015 and had a newly constructed home built on that property, and we moved in 2016. We were and remain attracted to the location of our property based on the wooded nature of the property and the privacy that affords. We also like that the surveys reflected no vehicular access immediately behind our house, which is why we decided to locate our pool and our outdoor entertaining area there. At this point, beyond reflecting on the explanation and the additional somewhat confusing statements made, we have two significant concerns that relate to the violations cited by the town and the proposed plans to remediate such. Our number one concern is around privacy issues relating from the dozens and dozens of trees that were removed illegally. The location of the tennis and basketball court that used to be hidden by these trees and hidden in the woods, and subsequent to the removal of dozens and dozens of trees, this tennis court is now in plain sight. In addition, having removed all these trees, the house itself was also where it was once protected by woods and trees is now also in plain sight. And in fact, last year we installed 3 green giant trees to prevent looking at that eyesore, that ugly blue box that is there now. Our second concern relates to the driveway that was illegally built. And in our view, no vehicular access means no vehicular access. Despite that, we have seen numerous construction vehicles go up and down that illegally built driveway.
Excuse me, where is the driveway located? And off of
On
what
the
road?
east side of the property.
Let me see.
It's right here.
This is the tennis court, it goes here, Mr. Silver's house is here.
So it would be upside down. It goes all the, and what's this road here?
Roses
That's Roses
Grove Road,
Road.
but
That's Roses
there's a
Road.
covenant that says you cannot access it. That's why we have this right-of-way easement, but I'll let Mr. Silver finish.
Okay, so the way
Before I
you're
address-
supposed to access it is through a right-of-way easement, not from Rose's Grove.
Right. And I'll let Mr. Silver
Okay.
continue before I respond.
So what you're saying, Mr. Silver, is that the direct access from Rose's Grove has been used?
Yes, yes, we've seen numerous construction vehicles go up and down that driveway over the last
Okay.
couple of years, as recently as 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
In expressing some of our concerns, the homeowner's attorney was kind enough to provide us with the agreed-upon revegetation plan. And we appreciate the desire to revegetate with natural plantings, but that plan did not reflect any screening type trees. And for privacy purposes, which would benefit both sides, obviously, we would like to see that plan include, say, 25 evergreen trees, each with a minimum height of 12 to 14 feet, spread out over approximately 100 feet, a 100-foot line between where the tennis court is on their property and ours. We furthermore would like to ideally have that as a condition to the variance, to the extent it is granted, around both planting those trees, planting those evergreen screening trees, and maintaining them as well. We further understand that the plan to revegetate would occur after the construction, and that part of the plan would involve using that illegally built driveway for construction vehicles. We have obvious concerns with that.
Okay.
Let him finish, and you can respond
I
afterwards.
will.
And like I said, we received this, the notice of this application, variance application, less than 2 weeks ago. Since then, we have reached out to 4 separate attorneys to seek legal advice and represent us as part of this. The first 3 of which were conflicted or otherwise refused to take the case, and the 4th was not available this week until the 4th was not available until next week. So I think has been referred to previously. We would respectfully request that this hearing be kept open until we can formally engage an attorney and work through some of these specific conditions that we would like to see.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you want to respond?
Yes, I'd like to respond. Yeah, so I was made aware of this because someone had called and there was a stop work order posted on the property concerning the construction driveway, which there's a specific covenant on this that says you cannot access Rose's Grove Road. So I've told the builder that, and I will emphasize that again. So then I went to the planning board, and they approved a revegetation plan, which will eliminate the driveway. And I will go to the client, and I'm sorry, Mr. Silver did leave me a message, and I apologize for not getting back to you, but I'm glad you're here. And I think that, it sounds reasonable to have, again, they were looking at revegetation on the property, but there is a concern here about, screening.
It's screening.
And I'm sure my client would be interested in that, and that's something we could work out.
Okay.
But yes, that has to go, that construction
Okay,
driveway.
good to
It's
know.
not allowed, and it caused overclearing. So
Yeah.
we hear you of that, and this is gonna be kept open, so, if
Yeah,
your new
this is-
attorney
this
wants
is
to
not
call me.
Sounds like you guys could work together to get that.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, and like I said, I
Definitely.
apologize, he did call, and I did send him some information, but,
Yes, thank you for that information.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're given 10 days before a hearing to do mailings, and that's what we did, so it was
Yeah.
a short period.
Yeah,
so.
it's It's not unusual for the short period of time, but
Yeah.
No
this is
worries,
not going
understood.
away. This is gonna be, continued
And,
Yes.
to be discussed.
I'm sure my client will work with you, so.
Fantastic.
Like they said, the planning board wasn't looking at that, they're just looking at
Yeah.
native vegetation and getting rid of that driveway, and I'll talk to him about,
Right.
I don't,
Well, clearly,
going
when you
over
come back,
that.
it would be very helpful
mean,
to
I
see
told them
what the
that.
agreement is at that point. so.
okay,
Yep,
all right.
that sounds good.
Anybody
Okay.
else out there?
Is there anybody else in the audience? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on the application of
Dream View.
282 Roses Grove, Dreamview LLC?
No one on Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Michael, we
Thank
got
you,
a lot
Ms. Silver,
to,
for your comments, thank you.
Yes.
Yep,
for-
thank you again, appreciate the
This
opportunity.
is a
Thank
very
you.
complicated.
It is.
And convoluted scenario,
Yes.
which we'll need to have more testimony on, so
Yes.
when would you like to, when will you be coming back? And what is it again that we want you to bring? We want you to bring the builder.
Okay,
We'd like to have a conversation with the builder, right, Keith?
well, yes,
Um,
because there are certain things we need to legalize,
Yeah, and we need to,
understand.
understand a little bit better about what was permitted, what was not permitted.
Besides, it turns
We're
into
pretty busy in September.
We are,
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
what do you
We
suggest?
also need to have the building department and council advise us on some of the issues, Kathleen, that were raised
Right.
tonight.
Sure.
So what do you recommend for a first
October.
meeting in October?
10-5.
October
And
5th?
fine.
Is that good, sir?
Okay, we'd like you to come back.
Yeah, that's
Council.
fine. That gives
October.
enough time to work stuff out.
All right, so.
And get
you're-
you more plans if you need more.
Yes, we do need plans
Okay, so-
and survey. I need a
You'll
survey.
get full size.
What
Well,
plans are you submitting?
Yeah.
these would be, I guess, the building. Are you looking for the building?
I'd like to understand about the grading. We need an
Right.
explanation of what the
Show
grading is
how
gonna
the
be.
grading will be.
So just the.
I have it actually now.
Well, okay, but,
Would you like to hear?
no.
No, so,
On
so,
10-5.
so they
Just
would
kidding.
like to know about the, I guess, the existing plans for the,
For the
what's
grading,
built.
for the,
For
for
the
the.
regrading plans
Yes,
and
so
they-
it's
Oh,
not
the
a
re,
grade.
oh, the
For the
regrading.
store, yeah.
Oh, okay, yes, the regrading for the three stores.
And
okay.
a better
Well, wait,
explanation, a
are-
better explanation about how you receive permits for a house
Yes.
that's 38 feet, when 32 is our,
It's our limit.
you know.
Mhm.
The building department.
Yeah, I think that would be a question.
Well, I'd
Missed
like to
it.
see better evidence of an actual approval of the 38
Yeah.
feet. I think that the
Right,
building
that's what
permits
I-
that we've seen don't even reference that, and that's a pretty big thing.
For what?
They don't,
So, they don't.
they don't,
They
So,
just,
and that's a problem,
yeah.
yeah.
But
And
the
then you're being
position
told
goes
that you
well.
need to come back here for a variance with regard to that. So that
Right.
says to me that the building department doesn't think that it granted you a building permit for 38 feet.
That's what we need to
But
hear
why
from
would
our
we- That's what
building. We need to hear from our building.
That's
Well,
why we need that,
That's
right?
your job
Well-
to evidence for us.
Right. You need to
I think-
present
That's,
that.
that's like black and white right there. It's stamped
No,
and
it's
signed
not.
by the building department, isn't it? That's not?
they
So if the
went out
building
and
department issues a
inspected.
permit,
I'm not gonna fight with you, sir.
No,
I'm
we're
not
We just
looking
told you what
okay,
we're
no,
looking
we're not,
for.
we're not,
I'm not
we're
looking to fight.
No, it's,
I
we'll,
don't-
we'll get you more evidence.
Okay.
right?
I will
We just
second
need a-
Michael's motion for
Okay.
a holdover till 10-5.
10-5.
Okay, Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
That was an aye.
that was an aye.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Macedonia,
Aye.
All right, well,
Mr.
thank you.
Leonard.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Chair
you,
votes
see you in
aye.
a month.
Okay,
Thank you.
adjourn till
Thank you.
10:05.
See you in a month.
Or two.
Are those new chairs there? They always the same chairs?
We just need to see people in, so you don't.
On the re-advertised application, Eric J. Belfi and Tara Belfi, 106 Cold
Blue Star
Spring
for-
Point Road in
Blue Star for
Tuckahoe,
H.
We don't have to
Suffolk
read it.
County Tax Map 900, 155, 1 and 30. Applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-84D Pyramid Law for a sky plane encroachment of 1,984 cubic feet on the east side of a proposed two-story, one-family dwelling on a non-conforming lot and any other relief necessary.
Madam Chair, Kathleen Murray, I recuse myself from this application.
Okay, thank you.
We have jurisdiction.
Do we have jurisdiction?
Yes,
He just said
yes.
it.
Yes.
Keith says it.
He did.
Mr. Recuse himself, so Keith.
Oh, Keith. We have
I
jurisdiction.
did say it, yes.
I never heard you say that
Come on,
before,
Keith, we can't hear
That
you.
was a new one.
Something new every time. Okay.
Okay. For the
Mr.
applicant,
Gilmore.
David Gilmartin Jr., Greenberg Troy, 2317 Montauk Highway, Southampton. This may be one of the most unusual cases that you've ever seen,
Oh, good.
Uh-oh.
right? So in 2018,
Riveted.
in 2018, my client, or the predecessor in title, got a variance to have 2,700 cubic feet of pyramid relief. My client has subsequently purchased a property and is reducing the request for relief. We did talk to the building department about getting credit for the prior, however, the style of the house and where the relief is needed, east or west side is different, so we had to come here. So we're looking for 1,984 cubic feet, I would say square feet, cubic feet of relief, when they have the right to 2,700 now. The reason that we can do that is they are building a smaller house, which is what makes it so unusual. It's 1,910 square feet, where the prior application had a 2,390 square foot house. One of the challenging factors for this property is it's in a AE6 FEMA flood zone, so our first floor elevation is at 8 feet, and that's really what requires us to get, to require relief in this. This board in 2018 found that there was no impact to the character of the neighborhood. I'd argue that a lesser request for relief carries that same presumption. It is not substantial as compared to what's already approved on the property, less of an impact environmentally. And there is, I would say, no self-created hardship, because again, we're moving backwards, which is what makes it so unusual.
Is that why we re-advertised?
No, we had the amount of.
The amount was
cubic relief.
1904, and
We had that advertised.
right, and so it's 1984.
It's 1984, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
we advertised it. And it was my office's fault.
Okay.
I don't know.
And what's the height of the
It's allowed, it's,
I didn't see it, so I just asked.
I don't see it on the plans.
yeah, I don't have that number. I can provide that.
I think it would be helpful to have it, the height of the house.
Yeah.
It was not raised as necessary for relief, so I mean.
I know, but I'm just for the record, I think it's important to have that.
Okay.
Okay, John, you're the lead. Do you have any questions other than what you just raised?
I have no questions with regard to this. I think it's completely modest, and I visited the property today, and what's being proposed is completely in line with what's already there up and down the street.
Anyone else? Helen, do you have anything to say? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this?
Mr. Collins, you want to comment?
Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to comment on 106 Cold Spring Point Road?
No one on Zoom.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
John,
so
you lead.
I move to close the public hearing of this application and set it down for written submissions on September 8th with a decision by September 21st.
Second.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess, Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay,
Great,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Good, thank you.
I hope you have a quick evening.
Thank you.
Wasn't too bad.
Looks like it.
Person. We'll see. We've got one more.
Last one of the summer.
No, he's just
Oh,
on the
really?
decision. Okay,
Yeah.
is there, I think we're up to decisions.
You want you to read that
That's right,
Daniel
the
Collins
selectmen is
Jr.
adjourned.
decision? That's what this
Yes,
is.
all right, so let me read the Collins decision first. I have a decision in the matter of Daniel S. Collins Jr., Suffolk County Tax Map 900-344-1-41.1. This application is for property located at 9 Willow Shade Avenue, East Quogue. Applicant requests variances for a proposed swimming pool in the front yard on a lot burdened by 2 front yards and 1 side yard. This application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed in-ground swimming pool. Town Code, Section 330-11, Resident Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for an accessory distance from street front yard setback of 10.6 feet where 50 feet is required, and Town Code, Section 330-76D, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts, and Town Code, Section 330-83C, yards, to allow the swimming pool to be located within the required front yard for the principal building, as shown on the survey prepared by Nathan Taft Corwin III, revised March 14, 2023. This decision is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including the installation of at least 15-foot tall trees by the applicant to screen the pool and the continued maintenance of such screening by the applicant and all successors entitled.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Nay.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes no.
What is that,
I didn't hear what Helen said.
She said no.
She said no.
Said no, Helen?
That's right.
and Susan, you said no?
I said no.
That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, it's fine.
it's a problem.
Yeah. We're split down the middle.
You gotta have 4 to
Gotta have
pass it.
4.
I can vote tomorrow.
You know, I think we need to find Kathleen. Where is she? Is she still thinking that she's recused?
It takes
Just to
4,
unrecuse.
it takes 4 votes to.
Yes, I understand, but normally they don't bring it up unless they've got the 4 votes. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So she shouldn't have brought it
Like Jordan decision.
So,
up. It was a split vote.
it's a split vote, that's no action, so you can, you need 4 for your.
Yes,
action.
Right.
So you can adjourn it until you have a full board, since you don't have a full board.
I would propose that we adjourn this until we have a full board. Do we vote on that?
You just adjourn to the next meeting.
Do we vote on that, or?
Yes, I'm sorry, I apologize, yes,
Do we withdraw the decision?
yes.
I'll move that we withdraw the decision that was just read and we'll schedule, schedule it for the following meeting, which is what, 9/7?
Yes.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
I'm sorry? Collins.
Yeah, I'm a no, I'm not gonna vote on that. I'm gonna recuse myself, because I would be a nay, and if it's a nay, then the decision's, what happens?
It's no action.
Then there's no action.
Somebody's gonna recuse themselves, anyway.
Well,
Or,
if
So
we
you
vote,
need
if it's.
four
We're
votes
voting on the
to adjourn.
motion to
And if
adjourn
we
to
don't have
next.
4 votes to adjourn it, what happens?
There's no action, I mean, you need 4 votes to take an action.
oh, okay.
So,
Helen.
but you have 4 votes to adjourn it, correct?
No, we didn't get there yet.
Oh,
We're
okay.
just starting.
And
So
if
we have 2.
So let me just ask the question. If
Mhm.
there is no action, what happens to this application?
We can, we can put it before the board again, or, I mean, it's an administrative denial, but we could put it before the board again when you have a full board.
And who does that if we don't vote to do that?
Well,
How does it get put before, if we split vote on the adjournment?
I mean, do you want to give I guess my question for you would be, do you want to give a decision on substantive grounds? Or do you want it to be on procedural grounds? My recommendation would be that it's on substantive grounds, right? So that you can show the court that you were looking at the application and you made a decision based on the substance of the application, not on the fact that you didn't have enough votes to even adjourn it.
Okay, all right, so let's complete
Does that make
the motion. Mr. Daly, you're a no?
Motion to adjourn to 9/7.
I'm a no, yeah.
Ms. Burgess?
Well, I'm very confused. Why are we having to vote as to whether or not we're going to adjourn it? I mean, if we need a full board because of procedural grounds, or as Kathleen was saying, it's either substantive or procedural, then why don't we just automatically put it off till the next hearing on
I think then you should vote yes. I think you should vote yes to adjourn to the next.
That was the motion.
The motion is to adjourn it to the next meeting for a vote. I'm gonna vote yes, so that you've got 4 votes to
Oh, my.
adjourn it to
Why
the
don't you
next.
let Ms. Burgess be the last vote?
Okay, Ms. Burgess, you can be the last vote.
So, Madam Chair, call the votes right now for the
You
adjournment
have,
motion.
you have 4 votes to adjourn, right? So you can adjourn.
At this
We're
point,
about to.
We're,
about
but we're
to.
waiting for your vote, Helen, to declare it.
You
So-
got 4 votes without me,
Yes,
is that right?
yes?
So
Well-
why don't you,
We haven't all voted yet, so hold on. So
All right,
why
let's
don't you
go.
just
But you do
finish
have to
the
vote.
panel that's in the room?
Right.
Let's go again.
Start over.
Mr. Tuthill, for adjournment, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Macedonio,
Aye.
Chair, oh, go ahead.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
I will reconsider and vote aye.
There we go.
I vote aye. Helen, what do you vote?
in that case, I'll vote aye.
Okay, all right, so the decision is adjourned until
Unanimously.
September 7th.
You had your 4 votes anyhow, right?
Yeah.
We did?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sorry to make you wait all that time.
Okay, back to decisions. While we're on a roll here. We're on such a roll. This is like, if Adam is watching this meeting, he's rolling in his grave probably
Hoping
right
somewhere
now.
good, where is it?
He's not in the grave just yet.
Oh, that was a bad phrase. That was a bad turn of phrase. Okay.
What are you wishing on him?
No. All right, back to decisions.
John?
Andrea Carrick
John.
Hannes and Costas Hannes,
Very
Suffolk
good.
County Tax Map 900-231-1-12. This application is for property located at 18 Ocean View Road, Hampton Bays. Applicant requests variances for a proposed 16 by 32-foot swimming pool on a small corner lot. This board finds that the application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed swimming pool. 1, Town Code Section 330-11, Resident Districts Tables of Dimensional Regulations, for a distance from street front yard setback of 55.1 feet where 70 feet is required. And 2, Section 330-76D, Placement of Accessory Building Structures and Uses in All Districts, and Section 330-83C yards, to allow the proposed swimming pool to be located within the required front yard for the proposed building, as shown on the survey prepared by Michael K. Wicks, Land Surveying, surveyed February 8, 2023. The grant of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Okay, chair votes aye. Richard Camp, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-5-4-14. This application is for a property located at 16 Birch Street, Noyak. Applicant requests variances to legalize a wood deck. While this board does not condone construction done without the benefit of a building permit, it does find that this application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief for the following provisions of the Town Code: to legalize an existing wood structure, a wood deck constructed without the benefit of a building permit. 1, Section 330-6 Resident Districts General Regulations that references Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for an accessory side yard setback from 8 feet to 5.7 feet from the north line, and 8 feet to 7.5 feet from the south lot line, and Section 330-76D, Placement of Accessory Building Structures and Uses in All Districts, and Section 330-83C yards, to allow the existing wood deck to remain within the required minimum side yard and the total required side yard for the principal building on a non-conforming lot. These variances are granted as shown in the survey prepared by Twin Forks Land Surveying dated July 1st, 2020. Grant of the foregoing is subject to the conditions of such other permits as applicant has heretofore acquired or may otherwise be necessary for final approval.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, I have two more. Jennifer and Lee McCabe, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-17-1-81. This application is for property located at 11 Westwood Drive, Noyak. Applicants request variances for a proposed new two-story dwelling on a lot burdened by wetlands and located in a flood zone. After discussion with the board, the applicant reduced the pyramid encroachment. As modified, this application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed two-story dwelling. 1. Town Code Section 330-11, Resident Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a rear yard setback of 30 feet, where 35 feet is required. And 2. Town Code Section 330-84D, Pyramid Law, for a pyramid encroachment in the amount of 3,491 cubic feet, as shown on the survey prepared by F. Michael Hemmer, L.S., last revised November 9, 2022, and the pyramid diagram last dated March 15, 2023, floor plans last dated November 15, 2022, and elevations last dated August 11, 2023, all prepared by Barry Rice, R.A. Grant of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises. Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Last one. Thomas Carroll, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-112-1-4. This application is for property located at 29 West Neck Road, North Sea. Applicant requests a rear yard variance for a proposed two-story addition on a non-conforming flag lot that is well screened. This property finds the application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, the board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed two-story addition. 1. Town Code Section 330-115C, continuance for a principal rear yard setback of 37.1 feet where 48.4 feet is existing. And Town Code Section 330-84D, pyramid height, for a total pyramid encroachment of 870 cubic feet on the east side of the proposed addition, as shown on the survey prepared by Joseph Secafico, PLS of Colonial Surveying, PC, last dated March 7, 2023, and signed on March 16, 2023, and floor plans, elevations, pyramid diagrams prepared by Diane Harold, R.A., dated February 28, 2023. Grant to the foregoing is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired, may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including the maintenance of the existing hedges and trees as shown on the aforementioned survey, and the planting and maintenance of additional screening along the north property line by the applicant and all successors entitled.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay, any other business?
Motion to
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Closed.
Great meeting, Madam Chair.